Learn tonight's breaking news as we finally make another addition to this window by capturing Cesare Casadei from Inter Milan. Who is the player? What's his game? Learn all the latest news and analysis about our new signing, and to follow on, we have even bigger updates surrounding our efforts to sign Anthony Gordon from Everton, as we have a 45 million bid rejected to try and sign him. Tons of things to break down and discuss. I hope you guys are ready to enjoy today's video. Smash that like button, and before we get into anything, I need to get one big plug out of the way first. There is a new episode of the Last Fan Standing show on BetVictor's YouTube channel, and this week we're discussing Ten Hag and Manchester United. I'm going to play you guys a brief clip now.
I'm honestly fully behind the manager. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Of course, all right, maybe he made a mistake or two in selection or something like that, but ultimately, I think what he's asking of these players isn't the wrong thing. I think he's just got idiots trying to carry it out.
Now, I have to say that I do agree with Adam McCullough. I do think that it would be very disingenuous to give up on Ten Hag currently when the whole structure at Man United for multiple seasons now has been of failure. They haven't addressed any key issues in the team. They haven't addressed what type of team they want to be as well too, and it's been a club known for regression. Ten Hag plays beautiful football, but I think they should take a lead from Arsenal now and look at Arteta. They backed him, they stayed with him, and the players stayed with Arteta as well because they knew that it was going to be a process to get them challenging. And now that the right solutions in the market came through to take the methods of Arteta to a new level, it's no surprise that Arsenal look like a completely different club this season. And I think Manchester United needs to be humble now and realise that this won't be a process that happens in one window, but will probably take at least 2-3 seasons for them to really get back there. So they're my opinions, you guys. Of course, get involved. Watch the full episode. You'll find a link below in the description and in the card above. And let's discuss our new addition in Cesare Casadei. We start with the news first. After that, I'll break down his game and give you guys a bit of a brief player analysis. The news is he's been signed for 50 million euros plus 5 million in add-ons. So that works out to be around 12.6 million pounds plus 4.2 million pounds in bonuses. And he continues this current trend of signing a long-term deal on a 6-year contract. And I'll talk about why we're doing this in a separate video that may come out later tonight, but no promises right now, you guys. But moving on, this summer, Neil Bath, our academy director, has been given a blank check to sign the very best talents he feels can upgrade the academy, level the academy up, of course, and be players ready for the first team to take over and succeed players like your N'Golo Kantés and your Jorginhos as well too. So of course, now that we've signed all the major youth targets we want, we have one more left, and let's hope we can get a deal wrapped up to sign Endrick from Palmeiras, because if we can do that, you guys, and I'm telling you, the next few years will be incredibly exciting to watch all this young talent hopefully playing together, growing together, and of course improving over the seasons. But regardless though, with our new additions of Chukwuemeka and Casadei, I do feel like maybe we should take a leaf out of the Real Madrid page and look at how Camavinga now has been introduced to be that successor for your Modric's and Kroos's. I feel like he's getting the right integration, of course, not only learn from these guys to understand what is needed from him and of him to succeed, but I think that gives him more time to just develop and improve as that player that will one day take over these like legendary midfield players. But for me, the fact that in the Premier League now you can use 5 subs, this is a massive deal, and hopefully we are going to see a bit of a career path and plan now in terms of giving these guys minutes to be able to, grow and improve, because it doesn't matter if you spend 20-30 million on youth talent if you won't give them the right minutes to develop and improve as players. In that sense, Casadei and Chukwuemeka are 2 extremely moldable midfield players who, in my opinion, excel as number 8 mids. Do I see us using a 4-3-3 system in the future? Maybe, and it seems like with the players we're signing now and the young mid talent that will succeed our, current midfield players, that must make sense now, because we're signing the perfect profiles to play that type of football in the future. So in my opinion, I'd love their complete game to be fully promoted, and I hope that we don't make drastic changes to their game to mold them into Mikel-esque players. Now, Mikel was great for us, but when he first signed, he was signed as a number 10 who was lining the world up in the Under-20 World Cup. Of course, with these guys, they can transition into playing in other areas. And for me, I think with Casadei, I've always seen him as a Italian Michael Ballack. And I think now is probably the best time for me to give you guys a analysis on the player so you know what to expect from our new Italian signing. Now, I've already spoken about his game in a previous video, but I'm going to give you guys another quick recap based on the context of the news today. As I've been saying, I see him as like a Italian Michael Ballack, and that's because when Ballack was young, he was physically supreme. He was able to affect the game on both boxes. He had that tactical intelligence, that defensive presence as well too, and is tall, great in the air, and is quite complete, actually no, extremely complete in all areas of his game. But for me, depending on how Tuchel sets his team up tactically with formations and systems as the years go on, I could also potentially see someone like Casadei potentially evolve into becoming like a Rodri type of player. Rodri, of course, scored how many bangers last season for Man City. He has that physical presence. He has that ability to, affect the game in both halves as well too. And I guess they focus more on his defensive nous, and he's very complete in terms of his game as a midfield player. So could Casadei be that long-term defensive midfielder that is able to get us like a few goals per season through long shots and his great offensive play? I think that could be a possibility, but at the same time, we're talking about a guy now that got, I think, 16 or 17 goals for Inter Milan's Primavera squads. To get that amount of goals, double digits from midfield, that tells you everything you need to know about just how good he is affecting the game in both halves. In terms of his game, alongside Chukwuemeka, I love these guys at the transition when they're attacking the spaces. They have that skill set, they have the powerful frame, the acceleration, the physicality to really maximize taking advantage of these moments. And of course, this guy knows how to put the ball in the back of the net. He has what number 8s normally have, and that ability to time his late man runs inside the box, where he can score through his great leap and his very accurate heading, his long shots, as well as his timing of his runs inside the box. That can definitely be promoted, in my opinion, and I'd love to see a future one day of Casadei on the right hand side and Chukwuemeka on the left, maybe with a DM in the middle alongside him. Still, he has other important parts of his game. I think his long passing is very good, and I think that at this level now, with like the speed in which players are moving in behind with, you want to have players that you can rely upon that can play those accurate long passes, those switch balls in behind as well too, because that can let you take advantage of a team's defensive line very quickly and literally bypass their entire team. On top of this too, we cannot forget he is a Italian midfield player, so he has an Italian brain. And what I mean by that is that these guys, their brains are fine-tuned to recognize taking up the right positions, screening space, of course, closing down and blocking passing angles. And on top of this, he is a leader. He is very vocal. He is that player that will tell other players and his teammates, go here, come back, push up, double up, etc, etc. And for me, this kind of like elevates his entire game. I mean, the guy's like 6'1", he'll probably still keep growing. He'll get even bigger and bigger. I could see him being like a Goretzka for us as well too. He's got that type of presence in his game. It'll be very interesting to see what the overall plan will be for them. And I hope that we do have a proper career path where these guys will get the minutes to grow, improve and learn. Otherwise, what is the point? So that is all the news on our new signing Casadei. How do you guys feel about him? And right now, we have to end things on another massive story, and let's talk the latest updates on Anthony Gordon. Now let's break down all the news that dropped today. We have massive updates on Anthony Gordon. Obviously now, with our interest being very public and well known, the player's head has been turned and he wants to make that move to us to play Champions League football and of course play for a top 4 team. A 45 million offer has been made. This was made on Monday. It involved a base fee plus add-ons, of course, to increase the value of this deal over multiple seasons. Everton currently are reluctant to sell, which basically means that they want to take advantage of our interest and get over 50 mil to reinvest back in their team. Now, on one hand, it'll be quite hard for them to find maybe the best solutions in the market to take advantage of maybe the potential 50 million they could earn from selling the player, but that's on Everton to do. And we still know that they have lots of interest in some players like Breuer, Gallagher, etc, etc. And as this window comes to an end, I'm sure we'll get better clarification behind what the long-term plan will be with these players. But regardless, Gordon hasn't necessarily expressed a desire to leave. Of course, he's an Evertonian. He has respect for the club, the fans, and you'd imagine that make his life easier and pay the money Everton want to allow him to leave very comfortably. At the same time though, Everton do know that the player's head has been turned. Now, these reports came from Matt Law, and he states that the reason why we even like the player to begin with is due to his ability to add creativity and that unpredictable nature he can bring to the game as well too. With multiple players set to leave, Hudson-Odoi on loan, potentially Pulisic as well as Hakim Ziyech to Manchester United potentially, we do need to get options to replace these guys. As Matt Law reports, we want Gordon as it's driven by a desire to sign some of the best talent in the country, hence why we want to secure James and Mount on long-term deals as well too. So that's all the news. A 45 million offer has been rejected, and you'd imagine that we'll come back with an increased offer, as we've done for all the targets by coughing up the money eventually for Chukwuemeka, Casadei, and I'd imagine Gordon as well too. So I'll give my thoughts and opinions to end this story. As you guys heard me saying in yesterday's video, and if you haven't, there'll be a link to that in the card above. You know, when I'm looking at guys like maybe Pulisic, who for me was a higher potential talent compared to Anthony Gordon when we signed him for like 60 mil. When I look at like Hudson-Odoi, who we turned down around 70 million to keep, for me, these guys are still better individuals than someone like Anthony Gordon. And the fact that they've struggled to really, you know, maximize on their potential, maybe says something about how, you know, the lack of career path to really help elevate their game hasn't been of particular benefit for these players. Does that then mean that Anthony Gordon, who maybe might not be as good as them in my opinion, is destined to be a failure? No, I'm not putting that out there. No bad juju at all, you guys. I'm not about that. But at the same time, I'm very curious to see what the game plan will be to really maximize his talent and hopefully build on his potential. For me though, even though I may not be fully feeling this move, that doesn't mean that I don't have an open mind. That doesn't mean that I'm going to be judging him very unfairly, and I think he's a bad player, because Anthony Gordon most definitely is not a bad football player. And the main reason for me that could really elevate his game and take him to a different level potentially in the future is that this guy is a mentality monster. And you know, you can't ignore mentality monsters. When I was a kid, when I saw Frank Lampard first signed, I thought he'd be nothing, in my opinion. And watching him grow and grow over the seasons to be one of the absolute legends of our club, one of the midfield legends in football as well too, tells you that guys that have this mentality to always strive, improve and push on, these guys can be any type of players they want to be. And for me, I get that same type of energy from Anthony Gordon. Look at how the guy presses, look at his desire. You know, pressing for me isn't like the be all and end all, but it's the fact that it's that intensity and that willingness to always do the extra bit for his team that tells you everything you need to know about his professionalism. And at the same time, let's even just focus mainly on his pressing ability, because he has had a reputation in this country for many years. He's been a massive talent here as well too. And I guess for him, he just needed to wait for his body to actually develop and grow so he can play man's football in the Premier League. I think at times we forget that with young talent, they still need the right physiology and body to actually allow them to compete physically against professional pros in this league. But when you combine his mentality, when you combine his technical play, which he has, that speed of thought on the ball, that directness, that turn of pace he possesses, on top of the fact that he is a mentality monster, well, I think it's only fair that everyone keeps an open mind on how he's used and what the player does, because I don't think you could easily write him off. Even though, as I said at the start, I may not be feeling this, I will keep an open mind based on these factors. So on that note, you guys want to wrap things up, keep things moving. Share your thoughts and opinions on today's stories. How excited are you about the future of Chelsea? It seems like we are focusing on signing top-class young players to build over the years. Are you excited by this, or are you a bit disappointed? Let us all know. I'm Nini FC, this is BlueLionsTV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.